Welcome back to another episode of the Lofty Lenders Homebuyer Education, where we explore tips, tricks, and stories to help you plan for your next home purchase. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a move-up buyer, an investor, or just looking to learn, we hope you gain a little more knowledge today. I'm your host, Kyle Guldenpfennig, aka Tall Money Man, alongside my business partner, Charlie Chedester, and we're here to help guide you through the mortgage maze with clarity and confidence. So, that said, Charlie, what do you say we talk a little bit about some of the first-time homebuyer myths that are out there? Do you like those?
Love it. There's no reason to be scared. Let's get the right stuff.
Yeah, so buying your first home is exciting, right? But there's also a lot of people that are talking about, oh, you need to have this, or you have to have that, or, hey, I got this, or my neighbor, I know that they did this, and that seems like it's everywhere.
It is. The crazy part is, we all have our concerns, and that's okay, but somebody else's concerns don't necessarily mean those are mine or yours, and so let's get what's important and put that list in order so it's not so stressful. 100%.
Totally can relate that to refinancing. Somebody will come in and say, well, Kyle, I've got my house, and I heard that I need to have a 2% interest rate reduction before I can refinance. So I'm just never probably going to do it because rates are never going to get that low again. I got a 6% back in the day, and I'm not gonna. I'll have to wait till 4. And it's like your friend across the street maybe needed 2%, but you maybe don't need 2%. Maybe you need to save $50. $50 could be 1/4%.
Yeah, I mean, it's math. And a lot of people don't like math. We love math. It's, I think, the best thing we can do because we can take that stress off. But yeah, everybody's situation is different. Maybe you have high interest credit cards. You don't even need to save on the rate. And other people just want to save per month, or some people want to save on the interest paid. Those are different goals. Yeah.
All right. So myth number 1, I should go out shopping for a house before I talk to a lender.
No. Well,
why not?
I mean, if you want to go educate yourself on what's in the area, but you definitely don't want to be, if I find it, I'm ready to buy it. So you're going to get the cart ahead of the horse, right? We see this all the time. People have the excitement, and then they realize what reality looks like, and now they're not comfortable, and then you miss the house. It kind of stinks.
Yeah. You think of that pre-approval as kind of being your permission slip to go on a school field trip, right? Without it, you might show up to school really excited, and then you find out that you don't get to go on the field trip because you forgot to have mom and dad sign it, and then maybe you go sign it in the bathroom or something real quick. But you're not supposed to do that. But that pre-approval is that permission slip. It allows you to write that offer. It allows you to, work with your agent on coming up with something that's good for you.
And I think what we even push more than that is that it's what gives you your own permission. Like, you can start to feel confident about what you want to do. The numbers make sense. Not just that somebody else says you're pre-approved. Really the right way, the way we try to do this consistently is where you're at. You're more confident. So when you do find the house, you're not so stressed out, because this is a stressful process if you don't understand.
And we talk about it all the time, but our spreadsheet is really the big key indicator here that goes off. And you talk about the math that we love. That spreadsheet, I sent one over to a new first-time buyer this morning. And he said, okay, so what is my monthly payment going to look like? And how do I? And so we just walk through that spreadsheet. The spreadsheet tells you everything. Well, is it exact? No, rates could differ between now and when you find a house. Maybe you don't want to go with it. You can't qualify for USDA because you're looking in town. But there's there's options. You can look at the options before you walk into the house, and you can know what your payment's going to be. If I talk to my wife and I say, hey, our budget's $1,200 a month for a house payment, and then we sit down, we go over the numbers before we walk into this beautiful home, and it turns out our payment's going to be $1,800, do we even go look at it? Or do we say, you know what, we're willing to pay $1,800 if it's the perfect house, and it ends up, of course, it's always going to be the perfect house if it's over your budget. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, just avoid the surprise, and when you find what you like, make sure that you're actually okay pulling the trigger, because we don't want you in the house when you love the house and hate the payment. That's not a good mix. That's no fun.
Myth number 2, there are only costs to buying a house, but after that, it's basically like renting, right? Like, you don't have to do anything else, right?
Nothing ever breaks. Maintenance is overrated.
Oh, you're saying stove, I can't call somebody and just have them come fix it as part of my rent?
I mean, you can. I mean, credit cards aren't real money, right? You just
That's
swipe
true.
it. You'll never have to pay it back.
That's true. No, that's not true.
It's not true. We want to make sure that's not the case. I mean, just the other day, you were fixing something because you planned ahead and you're doing your bathroom, which is fun. I fixed my bathroom because I dropped something in the sink and broke the sink. I mean, maintenance happens. It was a fluke, but it was a $500 fluke. I could have left the crack, which would cause water to go down and be a bigger problem. You're going to have maintenance on that house, and we want to make sure that you at least have an idea. And if you don't have a really good idea, you have a cushion and a savings account to cover those repairs. That way it's not as stressful.
I think a future episode is just going over maintenance, because there's a lot of stuff we could talk about with that, or even just like, preparing for spring and preparing for fall. Keep that a little back of your mind here. But one other thing I want to add to those hidden costs of home ownership are, not only can you think about what your budget needs to be for the house, but think about your budget in general, right? So just because I can afford a $3,000 monthly payment on a house right now, I don't have a car payment. I can afford a $3,000 monthly payment because I paid off my car a little while ago and I'm feeling pretty good about it. But my car might break. There might be a hailstorm today and I may end up needing a new car because of the hailstorm. Insurance isn't going to give me the value that I want out of it. They're going to give me the value they think it is, and I'm probably going to end up with a car payment. So I need to be cognizant of that. I need to be thinking about that. I need to be ready for that potential future car payment. Or you take the bus. There's still costs to taking the bus. You've got the bus fees. There's just so many other things out there that you need to look at your entire budget and every maintenance, everything that goes along with your house and your budget in general.
And again, the more cushion you leave, then you have room for that unknown or the oops. But if you're really going to the top end and you don't leave that extra room, that's where we get concerned, because we want to see you successful, not just getting the house that you want. So it's a good mix all the way around, and the communication goes a long ways.
Myth number 3. It's easy to time the market when I want to buy a house.
It can be if you buy when your budget is ready, and we watch that. But what most people say is not that.
Yeah. Most people are trying to time the market and they worry more about what the market is doing, or I hear comments, the market's really tough right now, so I better not buy. And do you want to be in that boat that you are one of 7 million people all buying at the same time? Or would you rather be in the boat of one of 100,000 and you don't have as much competition? Because I personally would rather be in the boat that's one of 100,000 or maybe even one of 100.
Well, and we have that, especially in Iowa, when we have the really cold winters. There's not as many houses for sale, but there's fewer buyers. And when it gets to be this time of year, spring is nuts. It's crazy how many people get excited. But I'm excited. I want to go do this massive garden. Not going to happen. I'm behind the ball. I didn't go buy the stuff ahead of time. I didn't prep the garden. So now I just got to kind of hurry in place. It's no different than trying to find the house and hurrying and getting excited when everybody else is excited.
Yeah, I once had a couple of buyers that I worked with, and they were first-time buyers, and they were excited to buy a house. They had gone directly to the homeowner. It was a for sale by owner home. Didn't work with a realtor. They just went in. They wrote up an offer, gave it to them. They didn't really know what they were doing, but they're just like, hey, we've got this down. We listened to a couple of podcasts, watched a couple of YouTube videos, got this ready to go. Make the offer, get it accepted. They call me up. Hey, we need to do a loan. Well, turned out that they couldn't qualify for the house purchase, so we couldn't do the loan. Now, we definitely tried, but if you're going to put yourself in that position, you need to make sure that there are some alternative options, like, hey, I know my parents would co-sign, or I know I can get a really big gift that'll offset my payment so that if I don't qualify, I at least know that I can probably have the house paid off with a gift, or whatever those options are. Those things have to be available, and unfortunately, they didn't have those options.
Yeah. And again, what we do is not common sense. We tell everybody the financing realm is designed to make sure people aren't lying, cheating, and stealing. And some of that's not common sense. The government's trying to make sure everybody gets a fair shake, which is a great deal. But some of those rules don't always make sense. And so you got to make sure your income matches. You got to make sure the money you were planning to use is there and everything else. So there's a lot of details that just need to be done ahead of time so you know what to expect and it goes the way you want.
So let's get over to our current events or market updates segment. How does this relate to what we're seeing in the market right now?
I think you and I have been talking a lot about this, and especially with the agents and a lot of buyers that are getting excited. But There's so much right now with excitement, but there's still not a lot of inventory, but there's a lot of buyers. And we're personally, you and I are watching rates like crazy. This week has been a lot of news. So timing of everything is almost impossible because great rates with no houses or vice versa. We have all these puzzle pieces in the conversations that we have. Everybody's situation is different. You're expecting a child and waiting for that, or trying to do it before. There's just a lot of pieces that need to be put together and have everybody on the same page. Buyers, sellers, agents, insurance, the lending side. We do more conversations than we do loans right now because everyone's trying to find how they put their stuff together, which is what we want, but it is a lot of talking and it can be stressful if you don't have good advisors and people working on your behalf.
And I think one thing that came to mind when we saw rates shoot up, and this was something that was pushed by every lender out there and everybody heard it, and then it's kind of gone away, but it still, I think, holds true, is you date the rate, but you marry the home, right? And what that means is when you buy a house, you probably have a 30 to 45 day window to pick out the interest rate that's best available at that time when you buy. So think of it as going out and dating. You've got 30 to 45 days to pick one of those people that you're going to marry. That's a challenge, right? You don't get a lot of options in 30 to 45 days. But after that, then you've got an opportunity to refinance. So once you have gotten into that house, now you can refinance right away, and you can get that interest rate down whenever the rate gets down to a point that makes sense. So I've got a few people right now that I'm working with that we've got an application started, everything's ready to go, but we haven't finalized the application. We haven't closed on their loan because they're just waiting on those rates to come down because they can. They're already in the house. They can change the dating partner, right? They're not going to change the house. They're marrying the house, but they can always change dating partners.
Well, and when you refinance, that's exactly it. It's your schedule, and you can go fast or slow. When you're buying, you got all those other people that you have to coordinate with, and so you don't get that timing as easily. So pick what you can when it's available, and then the refi, we can help you do that dance. And I'm with you. We got several that are just going to sit there, and then we're going to execute when the time is right, which is a great flexibility to have.
And I mean, sticking along with the current market trends, we've already seen this twice in the past 6 months, which is rates get better, get better, get better. Hey, rates are looking really good. We should probably lock these loans in. And we reach out to the customers and they're not responsive, or they're, oh yeah, I kind of want to get started with a refi, but I'm not ready to go yet. And then by the time they're ready to go, the rates have just shot back up because we're seeing these glimpses of really good rates before they shoot right back up again. And that's a big key, is just having things ready to go so that when those rates drop down, we're good. We can lock you in and close your loan and save you some money. But I know one couple in particular that I've talked to them several times and they've missed out both times. So at least we now have an application ready and we're waiting. But man, that just kills me that it's 6 months. They could have been saving $300 a month for the last 6 months.
Yep. And again, it's not that everybody thinks you have to know exactly what you're going to do. And I think that's the misnomer. A lot of lenders are going to say, hey, once you start, we're going to go. That's not how we function. I mean, we can let that thing sit there, but we're looking out for your best interest because we have a reputation to uphold and we want to see the best results. And you know what? If you call us and it's 4 o'clock on a Friday, it's hard to get anything done. Or like you said, we reach out, you're busy, you're on vacation, whatever comes up. It's hard to mix and match and time the market. No one can buy the stock low and sell the stock high every time. You might get lucky once in a while. You're trying to get the closest to both ends. It's no different at our end. We're trying to get a good mix, and timing and schedules are hard. Everybody's busy.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into the next segment, which is actionable takeaways. So 3 steps you can take as a first-time buyer to avoid these myths. Number 1, going along with writing that offer and not being ready, is go get pre-approved. Charlie and I have talked about this before, I believe, but it's better to start right now, even if you're not thinking about buying until 6 months down the road. Get that pre-approval today and find out, hey, maybe I need to work on my credit, or maybe I need to save a little bit more. Hey, I could do it if I had to, but I'm going to be really short on cash after I close on the house. Nobody wants to be short on cash after you buy a house. You got furniture to buy, you got appliances, you got paints. Paint's expensive.
Well, you get the good stuff with one coat, you bet. And it's the little stuff. I mean, how many times have we seen it's not the big things that change, it's all the little details that we can help to just squeeze more benefit out. And that's where everybody gets excited, but we have to be ready in order to squeeze the benefit out versus just run and go.
Absolutely. Next up was budgeting for all the costs. So we've talked about a little bit about, maintenance and your car payments and things like that. But this is where our calculator really comes into play. Our calculator is going to help you figure out what your monthly payment would look like on a house, especially if you're doing this ahead of time. So you can plan for that. You can budget for that. You can start setting aside that extra monthly difference between your rent and what that house payment will be and just say, hey, are we able to make our budget work? If we can make our budget work doing this, now we know that we can set aside that extra money and we can make a house payment that way.
And it's so different from house to house. The two very big extremes are you guys are looking to build. The maintenance on that is totally different than my 1905 house. So you could be anywhere in between, and we just need to know. So as you find things that you like, again, we'll fine tune so you're in great shape.
Yep. And finally, the last one is to work with a team. So Charlie and I both have a lot of realtors that we work with closely, and whoever your agent is, we're happy to work with them. But just keep in mind that we're all a team. So the biggest piece of this is I'm communicating with your realtor right away. As soon as you tell me who you're using, I'm reaching out to them to introduce myself and make sure that we're all on the same page, because I want you to feel like you understand, hey, I'm getting the same message from Kyle as I'm getting from my realtor.
100%. Love that.
And remember, you're not alone. If you have questions, we're always just a phone call away, text message, email. I think I got a carrier pigeon one time. No, I'm kidding. I didn't get it.
Hey, I know people around here that have carrier pigeons, but we're not going to do it.
Okay. Well,
that's
a whole
different...
along with your...
We'll just have these fancy dancy things.
Goes along with your 1800 house, your carrier pigeons.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Well, to wrap up, buying your first home doesn't have to be scary. With a little preparation, the right team behind you, you can avoid those most common mistakes and myths and buy with confidence. So we hope you enjoyed the conversation and found it valuable today. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms and subscribe to the podcast for more exciting episodes. And remember, stay curious, and we'll see you next week on The Lofty Lender.